Hello and welcome to the Talk Football podcast. This is episode 11, and today we are going to be doing our all-time Premier League 11s. Now, when we go through these, I know that most people that do watch this are going to be screaming at us and saying, "Oh, he should have been in there," or "There's players in there," or "Why you picked him." We'll have that conversation in the comments. So you can just.
And I am picking mine. I'm picking mine based on what I watched when I was a kid.
And I'm picking mine based on
obviously
players
class.
I like, obviously. So there's a bit of might be a bit of Chelsea bias in there as well. And I'm picking it on how I want the team actually to function as a team rather than just names on a piece of paper. So we're going to kick off with Adams first. Yes.
Well, there we go. That's mine.
So you've gone.
So I don't know if you want to have if you want to have a look, and then we'll discuss it.
Standard 4-4-2.
Yeah. I thought the only way I could get the person on the right mid in, because obviously he's just unbelievable. Right, so start off, Schmeichel.
Yeah,
goal.
I mean, obvious choice. I mean, you know, one of the greatest Premier League strikers. I mean, strikers even.
Strikers.
Actually, to be fair, he did go up front
in
a corner. He did go up front for a corner once and score a goal.
He did.
So I'm not a complete melt. But yeah,
well, I don't know about that, but yeah. And then left back, Ashley Cole.
I mean, obvious.
And Chelsea, as you know.
Yeah. And
John Terry, best centre back ever seen in my life. And I've actually seen him live as well, which was good. And another one, Rio Ferdinand. Yeah. And you'll probably not agree with this, right back, Gary Neville. And I went for him because he's one of the best right backs I've seen, obviously in the Premier League.
Yeah, and obviously he gets a bit of a link up with your right midfielder.
Yeah, exactly, which is Golden Boys himself, David Beckham, and then obviously the man himself, Sky Sports pundit Roy Keane. Yeah,
it's a very heavy Manchester United, which to be fair, is, you know, because if you're talking about like class of '92, you know, arguably one of the greatest midfield forwards of all time, which was Giggs, Scholes, Keane, and Beckham. You know what a midfield that is. I mean, that could have easily have been the four you went with, but you know, you went with Vieira, and I can understand why.
Well, I looked at Keane, I thought he was a beast, and I was going to put KDB in there, Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah. What about Stevie G?
Or Stevie G, yeah. There was loads I could have put in.
I mean, that's the problem. This is hard.
It is hard based on what I've seen on live.
As you've enjoyed
watching him as a child. I had sounds a bit wrong, but I I had the video which was not, I can't remember the date of it now, but it had like Lee Sharp was playing for Man United.
Yeah.
And it was when Derby were in the Prem. I think it was like when the One Chop
was that when One Chop scored the goal in his debut.
Yeah, and I had a video, and that was on there, and it was.
So that probably would have been.
Might have been
93, 94, around that sort of time. I think Lee Sharp was still just about there.
Yeah, it was Man United's actual like VHS.
Yeah. Maybe Andy would be able to correct us on those dates if we got them wrong.
But and then another one, look, Patrick Vieira, fantastic midfielder.
I mean,
unbelievable.
I mean, they probably had the best on-field rivalry as well between the two of them, because you know, I mean, those games at that time between Manchester United and Arsenal were phenomenal. And if it was an unbeatable team.
If it wasn't a Prem and it was an all-time, that would have been Zidane.
Well, I mean, that may be something we can do, like an international one, like an international all-time 11, which would be. I mean, that's hard. I mean, obviously, we'll just base it around players that we would have seen play.
Yeah, it's like this. I'm basing in what I've seen and what I like as a player, and playing FIFA as well. They're all in FIFA.
Yeah,
and I'm basing and I'm basing it on that as well. Obviously, Giggs isn't in there. Giggs left mid.
I mean, how many Premier Leagues did Giggs win? I think it was like.
It was a lot.
12 or 13.
It was because he started off young, didn't he? broke in young.
Yeah, I mean, he was only a kid. I mean, obviously, you had the goal against Arsenal in the FA Cup semi-final, that amazing goal. But for whatever reason, he doesn't make a lot of people's. When you do these kind of things, you talk about this sort of stuff with people. He doesn't seem to make many people's teams.
No, he doesn't.
I don't know why that is, but I don't know.
See, most people probably go for Hazard there.
Well, I mean, you'll see when mine
I thought
a little bit out the box when to fit players in. I've gone a little bit out of the box in my thinking to get players in, and Hazard would be in my honourable mentions, but he didn't make my team as much. The only reason I thought Hazard was phenomenal, but I've gone for a player that had a bit more sort of longevity, was around for a fair few more years, etc. Yeah, and then you fancy
there was a lot of them. There was like Robinho and all that, but I didn't really with what's going on with him. I thought, no. Well,
it's not even that, but I mean, there was only really around for a couple of seasons, weren't they?
Yeah,
so
Giggs was around for.
Would have been a great shout. And I think maybe when KDB has finished, I think he probably makes a lot more people's team.
Yeah. He'll be in like an all-star one. But like with Giggs, really, I went for Giggs because he started off young, broke through the Man United team as a youngster, and went on for a long time. Like you say, got a lot of titles with United. And I think he deserves to be in the team. Personally. Along with my centre forward. Along with my centre forward, Thierry Henry. Along with him as well.
Yeah.
A lot of titles with Arsenal.
Did you consider Rooney?
I did, yeah. But then I thought no. Because he was going to be with where Shearer is. I've chose Shearer for the next centre forward. Rooney was going to be there. Yeah. And I thought, I can't leave the legend out, can I?
Well, we've got some names we'll talk about with my one and all, because there's a few
other names. Rooney would be my bench. Yeah. Rooney would be my subs. If I was to choose your
honourable mentions.
Yeah, he would be in there, along with KDB. As
and obviously, I mean, Alan Shearer's an easy pick, really. He's Premier League all-time goal scorer.
God, yeah.
I mean, that could get broken if Haaland sticks around long enough at City, essentially.
And the thing is, people think of him as Newcastle. I'm going on as well with what he did with Blackburn.
Well, I can go back further than that because obviously I've got a few more years on you, and I remember him.
He won
Alan
Shearer
Gary Lynn at Blackburn, yeah. So that was under the Jack Walker revolution when Jack Walker came in, bought the club, and spent a lot of money. Kenny Dalglish as manager. They bought in they had some really good players. Stuart Ripley on the right. Colin Hendry at the back.
Colin Hendry. Flowers in goal.
Flowers was in goal. Mike Newell would have still been around. I can't remember if I might be roughly on it. I think Chris Sutton, when they bought him from, I think it was Norwich. They bought him from Norwich when he partnered Shearer up front. I think he was in the title-winning team as well. But obviously, definitely Shearer.
Was it Savage as well? Was he in the team with him?
No.
That was after, wasn't it?
That might have been later, but yeah, not in the title-winning team. They had Tim Sherwood in midfield.
That's it, Sherwood. Yeah, he was a good player.
Jason's. I can't remember his name.
Wilcox.
Now. Jason Wilcox. I think he would have been in there as well.
So, I should know because most of these were all in that video I was on about, that VHS.
Yeah, around that sort of time.
We're on that.
Yeah. And when you think about it, there's only at that time when United were dominating and stuff like that, it was amazing that the fact that Blackburn were able to do it.
So people aren't going to think that. People are going to think that, right, I could have chose Ronaldo.
You could choose Ronaldo. I mean, Harry Kane might have been in with a shout as well.
Yeah.
So,
but again, I could have chose that many people, and that was what I chose.
This is the thing. It's like we were saying on text messages. You could have picked 22 easily, and if not, and probably a lot more. It is difficult.
Well, I texted you today, didn't I? I said I didn't watch choose. This is what I chose on my own merits of what I've seen.
I changed my mind on 3 or 4 players a few times when I thought about, but then I thought. I mean, the obvious one as well was Paul Scholes, and
well, that's what I mean. I could have chosen him.
What do I want from my team? How if I was the manager and I was picking these players, what would I? So maybe I went into it. Maybe I went into it a bit too in depth.
Yeah. Well, same with me, really. With Giggs and Beckham, amazing players, but I went on basically what I would do if I was a manager.
Yeah.
I'd love them
obviously,
down that wing,
if you can imagine them, them two crossing in for Shearer, you got like Henry dropping off into space.
Shearer with his headers. Don't know why I'm doing it.
And the volley, yeah.
And I went for Schmeichel. It was Schmeichel. There was Schmeichel and the Shearer. I was contemplating Rooney for Shearer, and then Schmeichel was going to be either Petr Cech or Van der Sar. And I just couldn't choose. And I thought, well, it's got to be Schmeichel.
Yeah, another one. I mean, Dave Seaman towards the latter end of his career.
Yeah, and Seaman again, yeah. There's like, it's even like,
the unbeatable keeper.
David James and all that as well. People forget about him.
I mean, I don't think, people you can't really argue with Schmeichel, to be fair.
It's like this Crouchy. Could have had Crouchy. I loved Crouchy.
I love
but
Crouchy.
But he's not an all-time player for me, then.
No, I don't think.
Not an all-time Prem.
So. Although I do love Crouchy as well. So
yeah.
There we go. So that's your team.
Yes.
I suppose we're going to move on to mine.
Yeah, let's get yours up then. Oh, interesting.
See, very similar. It's not, obviously the back, for me, that back four... I know people could
there's two there, three there, probably four there. I would have chosen, but I went on basically my own merits, not
so
the formation.
I'll get my honourable mentions that I written up on my phone as well. So in terms of at the back, I mean, you could have gone with someone like a Vidic, potentially maybe even like Tony Adams or something. If you go back a bit further, very early on in the Premier League. He would have been about, but I went with how I want the team to function. So I'm thinking about partnerships on the pitch. So Cole and Terry, natural partnership.
There was even instead of Neville, I could have had Dennis Irwin or someone like that.
Well, Dennis Irwin played left back.
He was I think he played both though, didn't he?
No, predominantly left back. Very rarely did he ever play off the right.
Why am I thinking he played
maybe for Ireland? He might have played right back, but for Man United, he was solid in there at left back. Because at the time when you had him there at left back, you would have had Paul Parker initially playing at right back for Man United, and then then he got obviously succeeded by Neville later on down the line.
See, I could like my team. I could have had up front.
More knowledge, mate. I mean, you got to remember, I've got 10 years on you.
It's like there's another striker I could have had, Tony Yeboah. He was amazing.
Again, he's great, but probably not around long enough.
Only known for one goal, really, that hit the bar. Yeah. As Yeboah used to call it.
So of course, I've gone with a bit of my Chelsea bias in terms of the goalkeeper.
Of course,
I just think with what Petr Cech did. Although not winning many titles at Arsenal, because obviously it was later on in his career, to be around in the Premier League that long at top level, for me, under Jose in particular, I think, call it tainted eyes or whatever. For me, I just think with at a time now, like a Petr Cech in his prime at Chelsea, and I'm talking like 2003, 2004 under Jose, that era, he would have fitted into any Premier League team in his prime now with the way managers want to play in terms of playing out from the back, because he was very good with that left foot. Very, very good.
Yeah, and his distribution was amazing.
Yeah. So, for me, Petr Cech. I mean, Ferdinand, I say I could have gone with Vidic, could have gone a bit old school with like a Tony Adams or something like that. But I've gone with Ferdinand because I like a ball playing centre half, both JT and Rio, right foot, left foot, pinging the ball all over the place. Rio obviously had a bit more speed than JT. JT was like the complete centre back. The way he read the game was incredible. He knew he wasn't, particularly rapid. And the partnership JT had at Chelsea with Ricardo Carvalho was a phenomenal partnership.
Yeah, and you've got to think England is both for England as well.
Yeah, that as an England, how we weren't. I mean, if you look at just in terms of Gerrard, Lampard, Cole, Terry, Ferdinand, Neville. How we didn't win a major tournament with that.
And with David Seaman in goal as well. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then obviously Joe Hart, David James, we didn't have bad goalkeepers. And for me, a complete failure to the fact that I know I haven't put him in my team, but in terms of talking with my England hat on, why did we not go 4-3-3 and have Gerrard? Everyone said, oh, he can't play Gerrard and Lampard together and Scholes. Gerrard more often than not under Ericsson would get shoved off to play off on the left of the midfield, or one of them would get dropped. But midfield three of Gerrard, Lampard, and Paul Scholes pulling the strings, for me, that has everything in terms of I'm talking internationally. But obviously, I've not picked Scholes. And do you know what? It was so close between Rooney and Scholes in that number 10 position behind my striker. But I went with, obviously, Lampard and Gerrard. I think Gerrard is the ultimate box-to-box midfielder. His drive, his passion, his vision on the ball as well. I think in his prime years at Liverpool, I don't think there was a more complete midfielder. Could do a bit of everything at a world-class level. Frank, probably the ultimate number 8 in terms of a player who could arrive making late runs into the box. I mean, he's Chelsea's leading all-time goal scorer. That's no mean feat coming from a midfielder. We're not talking about striker.
And you know what? He'd probably still do a job now, personally.
You never know.
Well, always doing with Coventry says it all.
I just think with what Frank gives you, and I think he was very underappreciated as a footballer in terms of his passing ability as well. And obviously I got to see that week in, week out with Chelsea. So, for me, Lamps is in there. Now, this is where it's going to cause a little bit of controversy, the way I've set out and I'm going to call it a front four.
I was just thinking that.
Because I've got Rooney in the pocket in the 10. And I know he weren't around for a lot of years, but I just think when Ronaldo came in so I don't know if you're aware of the story about how they signed Ronaldo. So Man United went off on a pre-season tour. They played out and they played Sporting, and a 17-year-old kid called Ronaldo absolutely ran them ragged. He had been on the scouts' radar for a little while, but this was the first time that they'd actually experienced him in terms of up close and personal. The flesh.
Yeah.
And all the players, all the senior players on the flight back, apparently, from Santa Ferguson, you got to get that kid. You got to get him. So he did. He goes and signs him as a kid, and the rest is history. For what he did for Man United. I'm not really going to count the second time he came back to United when he returned, obviously well into his 30s. But that time before he went to Real Madrid, I think that first season was a little bit tough for him. He was too many flicks and tricks and step overs. But once he then kicked into gear, phenomenal. Ronaldo, absolutely phenomenal. Predominantly at that time at United, he played off of that right wing.
He did. Yeah, he's an unbelievable player.
Yeah, supporting Rooney, and then you had the likes of Berbatov and people like that as well. But the partnership between Rooney and Ronaldo at Man United was unreal. Unreal. Yeah. Really good.
I've always rated him. I just don't like his big-headedness. That's the only thing I don't like about him. Which you've got to be big-headed to be in what he's done.
Well, you've got to be driven to take your game to that level. Exactly. And then I've gone with Henry on the left. And again, I know. So for me, Henry was at his best when he drifted. I know he played, forward.
He was more of an inside forward, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I just think when he drifted off onto that left-hand side, it dragged the defenders out, and it made it very difficult for people to mark him. The defensive midfielder didn't really want to go out there and get him. So then you kind of had a situation, because they still had wide players, obviously they had the likes of Overmars and Pires as well. So then you had Henry going out there. I mean, as centre backs and a right back, what on earth do you do when you've got Henry and Pires or Overmars out there like that coming up against you? I mean, that's just terrifying. So
just them two players alone, Henry and Ronaldo, mate. Imagine coming up against them two. You wouldn't want to play. You'd be like, no chance. I'm not having that.
So obviously, a bit similar to you. I mean, Beckham makes my honourable mentions because I love David Beckham. I think I'm just an unbelievable player. Yet again, underappreciated for what he does in the ball. Everyone associates him with the free kicks and the crossing. But go back, and if anyone wants to take issue with me about how good I think David Beckham is, go back, get on yourself on YouTube, sub as well while you're here with this channel before you do, and type in. David Beckham passing Real Madrid, and then tell me that guy is not a complete footballer. Because if you can't, and you want to justify saying he ain't as good, he ain't that great, all he could do is cross or take free kicks, you know nothing about football.
And I'm going to tell you as well, not just on the pitch, off the pitch as well. What he's done for charities and etc. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that man. I'd marry him if I was gay. I'd marry him.
People are talking about the Spice Girl thing and all that, and was it a distraction? Maybe. I just think Bex was driven. He knew what he wanted to get out of his career. Alex Ferguson at the time didn't particularly like what he was wanting to get out of his career in terms of the image, but he was also thinking about his life after football as well, and how he takes that forward. But whatever money he makes, it's got to last him and his family for the rest of their lives. So he wanted to maximise that, and Ferguson wanted him to concentrate on the football. They had the falling out, the boot being kicked across the dressing room that hit him in the eye, and which wasn't exactly that long after that. Then he gets to transfer to Madrid. So honourable mentions. We'll go to, for me, my honourable mentions: Seaman, Vidic, Scholes, Keane, Beckham, Giggs, Harry Kane, and Dennis Bergkamp. But I went with Shearer because growing up, there was two strikers that I tried to model my game after as a player myself, and that was Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer. And for me, Alan Shearer was just the most complete striker.
Did you know who I thought you was going to choose? Cantona.
Go on.
I thought you were going to choose Cantona.
Eric was close, and I did consider Eric for that 10. I also considered Joey Cole. Hazard could have played on the wide left or in the 10 himself. And yet, like we were saying, there's just so many players that could have gone in there. But I've gone with what I think, how I'd want my team to play as a manager. And I think that as a team and as a system, I think that works. And
do you know who was going to make my play? You probably not going to probably associate with Kanchelskis.
Yeah,
Andre Kanchelskis. He was on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like pre-Class 92 at Man United, you had the likes of Paul Ince in midfield, Andre Kanchelskis, Brian McClare, people like that. A little bit before that, you would have had Hughesy as well. And then everyone thought Alex Ferguson was mental, like selling off and getting rid of these players to bring in, all these kids.
He was clever.
He was clever, but I think fortunate, because it's not often that you get literally 2/3 of a team come through the roof, the youth ranks, that are going to be good enough to go into a first 11. A lot of one player in particular, doesn't really get probably as much credit in terms of that era as he should, which is Nicky Butt. I thought Nicky Butt was a really good midfielder as well.
Yeah,
Phil Neville, and all, could play either fullback roles, could play in midfield, but probably not as complete a players as obviously the likes of the Nevilles, Giggs, and all that at the time. So, yeah. So that's my team.
There you go, sorted.
There we go. So we will do some more of these all-time 11. So I think a good one to do would be an England one.
Yeah, international.
And then definitely. Certainly I would think an international mix as well, where we can go proper fantasy and but I'd still think we keep it to players from our era that we think about, if you know what I mean. So
we say a bracket, say like 1990s to like 2000 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. If we can probably do it by decades, I would have thought. So we can, I mean, obviously, I was born in '78. My first vivid memories of international football as a kid would have been the '86 World Cup. Obviously, Gary Lineker taking the Golden Boot. You had the whole Maradona versus England. I mean, Maradona at that time. I mean, obviously now we know that he was off his nut. But
yes, I did see. I'm born '86, wasn't I? So
mate, honestly, if you get a chance, like you probably have seen it on YouTube. But the Maradona's second goal against England. So obviously we all know about the hand of God when he punched the ball over Shilton's head. But if you get a chance. And ironically, because I was talking about Paul Parker, it was Paul Parker actually went out to close down the free kick shot. So the ball was passed off short, and Paul Parker rushed out from the wall to try and block the shot. The ball hits Paul Parker, loops up in the air, and then as it's dropping, that's when Maradona jumps. And
I've seen the seen that
but
one.
It's Paul Parker that actually rushes the wall. I'm sure it's. Yeah, I think it's Paul Parker rushes the wall, and then I think Steve Hodge then tries to clear it, and then, which is an ironic name. I think sure it's Steve Hodge tries to clear it, and that's when the ball loops up. But
was it Hodges though, or was it Steve Hodges or Hodge?
Steve Hodge. I used to try and claim that he was like my dad's cousin or something like that, but yeah, no relation. But it was quite cool at school to say, "Oh yeah, that's my dad's cousin. Look at him playing in the World Cup."
Oh dear.
No relation that I know of. I mean, he could be. I mean, our family does spread far and wide, but yeah, you never know. But yeah, so yeah, we got that. I mean, obviously you got so you could have like the 80s, out, and then probably our peak time would be internationally for us would be. I would say 90 to 2000 would be a real peak. Obviously, Italian 90 for me, Gaza crying, you know, Gary Lineker's equaliser against Germany in the semi-final, takes it off his left thigh, buries it in the bottom corner. Great finish, Gary. I got to meet Gary around a bit before that. So my dad was doing, because my dad worked in the film industry, so he was doing a comic relief thing with Lenny Henry for Red Nose Day. And they had Gary there doing a comedy sketch with Lenny Henry. And so my dad took me down to the set on one of the days and said, "Oh yeah, I'll bring you down to work and you can meet Gary." I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm going to meet Gary Lineker. I'm going to meet you." And I'm a kid. I'm tiny. Like, and all I remember is my dad like tapping on his, it was like a Winnebago, like an RV. That's like, obviously that's what all the stars had, their own RV. So dad taps on there. And all I remember when the door opened was just these huge thighs right in front of me, and he was wearing his Spurs kit at the time. He's wearing the Spurs kit for the actual sketch he was doing. And I just remember just like, and I was shaking. You know, I am meeting my all-time footballing hero at the time, and I couldn't speak. I was just dumbstruck. But he was so nice. And then the ironic thing is as some people might know,
nothing's changed. Then you can't speak now.
No, I keep losing teeth. But obviously, being a London bus driver on the route that I came off of, the 485, Gary Lineker lives in Barnes. So I was in Barnes on the bus, and I see Gary coming out of his house. So I stopped and just had a quick chat with him out the window. I said, "I met you when I was like so high." On a comic release shoot you did with Lenny Henry, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." And he actually remembered my dad, so he remembered my dad's name and that. And he said, "Oh, you was Pete's little boy." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "He goes, bloody hell." And he's like, you know, but yeah, again, what a man, what a great person. I've met him a couple of times, and you know, in and around Barnes, we used to go on days out, and never fails to stop and have a chat. You know, a lot of these sort of stars and that would brush you off and blah blah blah. But yeah, great man. But yeah, so we'll definitely look at that. More all-time 11s to come.
And also, while we're finishing up, we'll get rid of that. And yes, don't forget, guys, please go over to the channel on YouTube.
Yes,
head over to the channel and look. There's a lot of vlogs on there, load of pods, load of video pods.
Yeah, so we've obviously had 2 new vlogs go up over the course of the last 7 days.
Yeah, and we've had another stuff as well. Thank you.
Yeah, one which was really, really a really good one, because Adam went to watch the League Cup final, the Women's League Cup final between Chelsea and Manchester City, but that was held at Pride Park. So he got to go and watch that, and it was literally like near the halfway line, right in front of the presentation and all that. Difficult to get a lot of obviously match clips, because he's sitting so low, it's difficult to get a lot of clips out of it. But yeah, there we go.
That's the seat. That was the seat.
So that, I mean, what a great view that was. Shame about the Pride Park pitch. We've spoken about that before. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah,
I couldn't believe that. It was terrible. But like I said, there is other
check out that
as well.
And then I went off a few days before that, and I filmed a matchday vlog at Farnborough. And I'll tell you what, for a National League South stadium, that stand you can see on the thumb there behind where I'm standing, that stand is absolutely huge, and I was actually sitting up in the top left corner of the stand up there in that top left corner. So I filmed obviously a little bit around the stadium and that, but for a stadium at that level and to have a nice stand that big, I was really impressed. It was a good game. They lost, obviously. I seem to be a bit of a hoodoo for the home teams on these vlogs, because at the last 5 now that I've been to, the home teams have lost. So I'm not telling them that when I contact them, telling them I'm going to watch the game and film the vlog, because they'll probably ban me from the stadium. But but yeah, go and check out the vlogs, and again, thank you to everyone that's supporting us on the show and the vlogs and the socials.
Yeah, it's much appreciated. And I am going to any other match day on Saturday. I get Mickleover again against Whitby Town, so I will be doing that one. It'll be going up on Monday at 7 p.m. So keep an eye out for that. I know I have to keep going to Mickleover. It's the only local club to me. All the rest are all pub teams, and I'm not going to them because they're just on the most muddiest parks going. So if you're enjoying the Mickleover ones, please comment and let me know what you think. I would like to know.
I've got a mate who plays. He's been bugging me for a while to come down and lace up the old boots and play for his vets team. So I might go down on Saturday coming up, and not play, but I might just go down and have a little look at them, see what the standard's like, see if my fitness would be capable of playing at that standard. But I might actually do like a bit of a vets match day vlog on the team if they're okay with it. And so I'm going to have a little chat with my mate Scotty, who helps run the team in that. And I might see if I can get down and film that and do another. Like I say, we did one with Hersham Royals before against Mondial, and I really enjoyed that. And I don't mind standing up, like walking around the fields and filming it. So hopefully we'll have that. But if not, I am on earlies, thankfully, when I go back to work. So I should be able to get to another game on the Tuesday night. I haven't picked one yet, so I will be scouring through all the non-league clubs that I follow and the women's teams, etc., to find a fixture for that Tuesday and the following Saturday as well, I think.
Sounds good to me. Like I say, I'm trying to, if it's Mickleover all the time, I apologise, but it's just I enjoy doing them. I like going to watch Mickleover. It's local to me. It's literally 10 minutes up the road on my bike.
I mean, you've got obviously got the poster here, the Don Amott Arena. So if you're in and around the Derby area, or even in the Derbyshire area, the county, then go and check out Mickleover. There's the address. It's the Don Amott Arena, DE3, Mickleover Football Club. And if you want to go and support, if you can't, a lot of the reason why I started doing these non-league vlogs is that because it's so expensive to go to watch Premier League football. And time-wise as well, it's difficult, obviously, if you, like me, if you work shifts, to be able to plan and to be able to go to matches. So non-league football is just very accessible. I think it's really good value. Most of the games are anywhere between £7 to £12 for adults, concessions anywhere £6 to £9, etc. A lot of the places even have kids going for free. So I'm looking at the game between it's Brentford women. I can't remember when the fixture is. It's close to Mother's Day, because we're thinking of doing it for like a Mother's Day thing as well. So it's Brentford women. I can't remember if they're playing Bromley or MK Dons, but it's being held at the GTEC arena.
Oh, GTEC Arena, nice.
And I've not been to the GTEC. And obviously,
that'll be a good vlog. Very good.
Yeah, I think so. The last time I went to watch Brentford for a home game is when they played at their the original stadium, which their name escapes me right now. But yeah, so it'd be interesting. I've not done the GTEC, so, and believe it or not, it's £2 for an adult.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I don't know what level Brentford women play at. I'd have to check that out, what league they're in. But I'll check it out. And I'm pretty sure the game's going to be at the GTEC. So yeah, it says it's at the GTEC unless they switch it. But yeah.
Well, I am looking at Derby Women's again as well. Go and look and watch them again. Yeah, because I enjoyed that one as well.
Well, the thing is like I know you say about like obviously doing Mickleover time and time again, but the thing is that Mickleover are going to be playing different teams, so it's not like they're going to be just watching Mickleover. There'll be different opponents. So yeah.
And I'm hoping if Mickleover is watching this, Don's watching it or listening to this, I'm doing it to try and hopefully, if you are liking them, I'll come and do them often. I'll come and do them every game. speak to me.
So if any, obviously, if anyone from any non-league clubs or etc. does want, particularly in the London, Surrey, Hampshire areas, etc., there's lots on so many clubs. So if you do fancy me coming down and visiting you, just let us know in the comments, or tag your club, or tag if you're a fan of any of those clubs local to you. Tag them in the comments, and we will endeavour to come down. And if you are someone that lives in and around the Derby area, and you do fancy doing a couple of away trips with Adam, I'm sure that you can drop a message. Adam will message you back and you can arrange that, especially if you drive. That'd be helpful.
Yeah, because I don't drive, so it's
because I don't drive.
It's awkward to get there as well. The bus systems around here are terrible.
But
sorry, Derby, but they are.
Yes, sorry, Arriva Midlands, but
yeah. It's not even Arriva. There's like loads of there's like 3 different companies, and they're just all crap. But that Brentford you're on about, they're in the regional divisions, Division 1 North.
Oh, there we go.
And they are Brentford are second, 1 point behind Bromley in first.
And so is that next fixture?
Good game.
Is that the next fixture? It is the Bromley one then. It's on around about the 30th or something like that.
Fixtures. So I'm just looking online, guys. Sorry. 3 p.m. 23rd. So this Sunday.
So this coming is it Sunday?
Yeah,
this coming Sunday, 23rd. Okay.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure it's only a couple of quid to get in. So yeah.
Yeah, because then they're playing a Hack, and on Mother's Day, 30th, they're playing Hackney women.
Nice.
At the Wadham Lodge Sports Ground.
Okay, I might have to check that out because
Hackney's not far either.
Not really. No, it's just across East London, isn't it? So yeah.
Yeah, not Hackney. Look. Yeah, they're the games.
Yeah. Oh no, can't go to that one.
That's Mother's Day. That one.
It's Mother's Day, yeah, and we are out for Mother's Day at that point. So we're going. Me and the missus and the kids. We're going to a place called Boom Battle Bar, where we're going to be doing shuffleboard, pool, and karaoke.
Sorry, tell her you're going to the football first, then take her out.
Well, we're going to do the football the previous weekend, and we're going to stuff my face at Carvery on Saturday night as well. Come on.
So then there'll be 2 vlogs then next week.
Potentially, yeah. Hopefully that'll
I'm
work
going
out
Mickleover Saturday. You're going Sunday, so Mickleover's Monday, and then hopefully I'm going to probably say Friday. Give me a chance to edit it. So I reckon Friday 7 p.m. for yours.
So there we go. So if you want to comment, obviously, on what we've done here today with the all-time 11s, and if you want to suggest any teams that we could look at, individual teams that we could probably pick, like from the Premier League era, that we could pick all-time 11s, etc. Obviously, comment that as well. And if you're interested in meeting up with us for Matchday Vlogs, if you want to join us on a Matchday Vlog, I mean, that'd be great if someone would want to.
Yeah.
If you're in the Surrey area, etc., and you go and watch a non-league team, if you want to drop a message, I will quite happily come and meet you at a game, and then you can join me and do the vlog with me as well. We're all about the participation. So
also all-time teams, etc. If you want to send them in, email them in, or drop us a message on social media, and we'll get
in contact with social media. You can on TikTok, etc. You can we'll put a little short out on YouTube, Insta, etc. from this, and then you could even duet on TikTok. You could duet and show us your teams, your all-time teams, etc. So there's millions of ways that you can connect with us, but the most important way you can connect is obviously one, checking out the social links at the link tree /TalkFootballCast. But more importantly, if you're here, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you can get notified when the content comes out, which predominantly we're trying to get that out, at least some content out every Monday at 7 p.m. So always look out for the channel for that. There we go. So that is episode 11.
Over and out. Done.
Over and out.
Yeah.
Thank you, and see you on the next episode and on the next vlogs.
See you next one, guys. The Fan's Voice.
That's it. Talk Football Podcast. The Fan's Voice.
The Fan's Voice. Yes, that's the one. Bye.
There we go. Goodbye.